evening, we have paired spoken word poet Brendan McLeod with indo-fusion dancer Namchi Bazar.
Yes, I would like some contraception. That one there on the right was spermicide and ridges. Yes, I'm aware they're not 100% effective. But I like to consider myself sensitive to the brevity of life and therefore open to the arms of pleasure. I'd also like some licorice. Ah, licorice. Don't we all want to live in a world that brings the full measure of its forces to bear on ensuring our satisfaction? She told him she thought she was pregnant. There was a very long pause. Then he frowned. Like, in the womb? He was hoping she meant pregnant with joy. And laughter. She didn't look joyful and she wasn't laughing. My face feels like a piece of burnt toast, she said. My head feels like a melon. He couldn't think. He gave her the first related thought that came to mind. This long story he'd heard about this woman giving birth, where the baby's head comes out and they have to wait a second to deliver the shoulders. So the baby is lying there with just its head out, and while it's still in her body, it turns, looks up at the mother, opens its eyes, and starts to cry. Creepy. Thanks, she said. They talked about the life changes involved in having a baby. She was astounded by the possibility of spending all this time nurturing another being inside her, which could then just go walking around by itself. She thought it should come with a homing device or something. I mean, so much could go wrong, but so much could go right, he said. We could raise it to be an astronaut or a saint or a civil rights leader. We can't even take care of our dog, she said. In fact, where is the dog? I think he's sleeping. How can he sleep at a time like this? He's got a warm blanket. He's irresponsible. Things got worse. They went into the bathroom together to take the test. She was pissed. He left the toilet seat up. He insisted on being there for the moment of truth, but she couldn't pee with him looking. I'm not looking, he said. I can see you doing it out of the corner of your eye. That's not true. I was born without peripheral vision. It's a natural blind spot. Then how do you drive a car? Well, I just swivel my head out. He exited, and she was finally left alone, perched there like a gargoyle above the toilet. Watching the luster of her shower curtain, the sparkling linoleum, the militant alignment of her toiletries, wondering about the order of events and the workings of fate, at last holding the bland pink strip up to the bright ceiling light to watch her future change. close their eyes, sleep within the trap. Daily bread breaks time into its separate portions. The dishes sometimes done, and sometimes put away. I hold you near, and in my heart your heartbeat dare, and in my skin your sacred smell, and in my walk your gait as well. We measure by the mile, by the mile. And we chart our courses crossing. So by the light invested upon me, be my ceremony. By the life invested upon me, be my ceremony. Humans have the biggest heads and shoulders relative to the size of their pelvises than any other species. So sometimes when you're giving birth, the bones of your pelvis burst, and the cervix must dilate 10 centimeters for extra space. It was true. Sometimes she looked down at a new body and wondered how birth would be possible. The fetus was now 19 inches long and weighed 7.5 pounds. She weighed 95. In relative terms, giving birth would be like trying to pass a propane tank through a necklace. There was also the joy to the process. But there was also the joy to the process. The rhythms to her new responsibility, its heart beating in her belly, the soft touch of the new kick, the call and response to song and voice and story. It was an inimitable life process, an amazing process. Because when you think about it, conception is a remarkable thing. You have the egg, which is about the size of the dot of a pencil, and the sperm goes inside. If you magnify the egg like 100 times, you could just see the sperm. And the egg turns into an embryo, divides to grow in the uterus, and this is launched by a calcium wave released by the sperm's protein molecule. And molecules are so small, there are 500 billion of them in a cubic inch of air, which means you could just barely see one of them. If you pile 10,000 of them, one on top of the other, on top of the other, on top of the other, and the outer layers of the embryo grow around an axis becoming the spinal cord. The gastrointestinal tract forms around the 6th week. There's brain activity. Blood flows, the heart beats, the skin is transparent. There's the first measurable signs of EEG movement. Brows, lashes, nails, increased muscle development, nervous, auditory, and respiratory systems, the line of brain connections, iron and calcium necessary for the actual birth, involving the engagement of the fetal head in a transverse position with the baby looking at the pelvis of its mother's hips. It's a second flexion, internal rotation, 90 degrees to the occipital interior for delivery by extension out the birth canal, then restitution with the head turned 45 degrees in a normal relation to the angled shoulders before completion of the external rotation, at which point we can see the head, the great big head, the benevolent head. We are on fire. It is alive.